Okay, welcome to this Monday's meditation. And just to start, I'll invite you to allow your body to breathe in the way that feels most naturally pleasant. Remembering that there's no right way, no wrong way, just a continual practice of attuning to what feels naturally okay. With a reminder that nothing about you needs to be any different. All instructions I offer are invitations. So if they don't feel good, don't do them. And if you have other practices you rely on that feel good, you can use those. My offerings just serve as scaffolding and support. And finally, there's no such thing as a distraction. Everything that arises, whether it's internal feelings, sensations, thoughts, or external phenomena, it's all part of the organic fabric of this life and this universe that we're woven into. Taking a moment here to connect with the sense of the earth beneath you. Really enjoying the felt sense of the earth there supporting you. Then connecting with the space around you. And finally, connecting with the sense of the sky above you. Just allowing yourself to be in pleasurable connection with all you're in connection with. And coming from that outer space, we'll come to our inner space and come to our senses. First to your sense of sight, and just allowing your eyes to do what they naturally want to do. If they want to rest, let them rest. If they want to wander, let them wander. If they want to fixate, let them fixate. You're not needing to seek anything out, but just enjoying being in connection with your sense of sight, being in pleasant connection with the underlying life force that animates your sense of sight. And then connecting with your sense of touch, just enjoying your sense of touch. In whatever way feels good, you can engage in self-massage. You can just enjoy the feeling of the air or the clothes against your skin. Really just trying to allow the unfolding process of your life force to do its thing. Next, taking a moment to welcome any stretching, shaking it out, bodily adjustments. Oh, remembering that movement is welcome throughout meditation. We're not here for discipline. We're here to develop friendly, direct connection with what is. So if your body wants to be still, let it be still. But if it wants to rock back and forth, let it rock. If it wants to fidget, let it fidget. You get to become discerning about what type of movement brings you into the deepest stillness, because sometimes movement helps our mind and spirit to be still, and sometimes stillness, physiological stillness, helps our mind and spirit to be still. Remembering that all of this is practice, experimentation. It's a creative endeavor, finding the ways of practicing that unlock greater well-being and naturalness for you. And welcoming any sounds your body wants to make. Sighs, yawns, burps, farts, groans, letting your body be a body. Letting it regulate itself in the ways it wants to. As always, no right way. Just what helps you feel okay. Just what helps you find a sense of naturalness. Easier said than done, I know, but worth the effort. Remembering your breath, allowing your breathing to happen in the way that feels most naturally pleasant. We'll invite a little bit of deeper breathing. So on your next inhale, you can breathe into the back of your lungs, allowing your upper back to expand as you inhale. And then on the next inhale, adding in your lower back. And then finally adding in your belly. Really allowing your belly to be soft as it breathes, to take its most natural shape. Really allowing your belly to be a belly. As we've touched into all these different places and ways of relating to our bodies, our breath, our connection to the world around us, it's all with an intention towards allowing our aliveness to feel naturally pleasurable. Even when there's difficulty, we can meet that with a sense of benevolence, with a sense of grace, with a sense of, I can hold that too. not from a sense of pretending that it feels good. We're not here to fake anything, but instead simply to meet everything with such a finely honed sense of compassion. That it feels good to meet this life, even when this life is very difficult. Easier said than done, but worth the effort. Ah, So we'll move to embodied self compassion at each place that I guide you to. We'll focus primarily on head, heart, and belly, bringing a sense of compassionate holding and attention. So, first, just coming to your brain and holding your brain with a sense of care, whatever sense of care it could use. Could be that just gentle attention does the trick, helps your nervous system in that space feel better. Or you could call in a sense of warmth, a sense of light, a sense of a cool breeze, whatever it is that your brain space needs. Over time, the attention becomes subtler and subtler to the point where there's not a distinction between the felt idea of the brain and what the self giving it attention. It's just that you're naturally holding everything with that skillful gracefulness. Then offering some pairing attention to the top of your head, your crown, and also to your throat space. And then coming to your heart center and holding your heart with a sense of care. Whatever sense of care your heart could use, whether more warm or cool, soft or firm, tight or loose, and really seeking to offer it to your whole heart, front to back, side to side, top to bottom. Ah, Really honoring your heart space, trying to find the subtlest, easiest attention you can offer that helps it to feel just right. Ah, And then you can give some carrying attention to your solar plexus, your diaphragm. Ah, and then coming to your belly space and holding your belly with a sense of care. Really offering that care to your whole belly, front to back, side to side, top to bottom. Not needing your belly to be any different. Just giving it the right subtle type of attention. Ah, ah. And then carrying attention to your root, your pelvic floor. Then expanding and offering attention, carrying attention to your whole body. Not needing to map out your whole body, but just noticing the places where you feel your body and holding those places with care. Trying to do this with as little strain and effort as possible. Just noticing what's alive, noticing what you feel in connection with. Then expanding further and to hold all the things you're in connection with in the space around you with care. Again, you don't need to strain to connect to anything, just noticing what you already feel in connection with in your space. And being an enjoyable connection with those things. And finally, bringing that caring attention to all you are in connection with. Again, not straining to map out what you're in connection with, but just intuitively feeling into all that you have a sensory connection with. And holding all of it with a sense of care. Perhaps to the point that all there seems to be is this sense of caring, holding attention, caring awareness. Ah, And from here, most of what we've been doing so far is focusing our attention in particular ways. And what I'm going to invite you to do is go from attention to awareness. And so to do so, just allow awareness to rest in awareness. This is an instruction that I enjoy, that Michael Taft often uses. He's another teacher you can find on YouTube. But really, just allow your awareness to rest in that sense of broad awareness. And if that feels too abstract, what you can do is just anytime you notice your attention focus or contract around anything, just notice that contraction and release it. You're not trying to make anything go away. You're just bringing the subtlest awareness there and just releasing. Not judging whether or not the thing that you're holding on to goes away or sticks around. You can release that thing and allow yourself to witness the substance that perhaps made up that thought you contracted around, or the substance of the feeling that it contracted around. Just allowing yourself to rest in awareness. And finally, what we'll move to is a little bit of resourcing. And to do so, first just identify a source of support. Could be a loved one, could be a spiritual entity, could be an ancestor, a pet or animal, a place, an experience. Anything that feels like a source of support, of nourishment. And once you have a connection to whatever source of support you'd like to draw from, just practice receiving whatever nourishment is available. Really allowing yourself to invite in whatever your source of support makes available in this moment, and noticing what it's like, getting curious about receiving. Ah, and to close this meditation, we'll practice gratitude. First, offering gratitude to all the beings, experiences, places, all the things that have nurtured and supported us in arriving here. Perhaps taking a moment to really get a sense and perhaps a sense of awe at the multitudes of beings that have had to strive and struggle to help us arrive here and to love to help us to arrive here. And then offering gratitude to yourself for all the effort you've put into building your life, into being here in this moment. Ah. And finally, offering gratitude to all the beings that we get to love and nurture in this lifetime. I don't know how many words I'll have today, but I feel drawn to talk about resistance. Hmm. A lot of what increases our sense of suffering, of what makes life more difficult than it needs to be, is could perhaps be described as resistance or saying no to reality. And I'll clarify because resistance itself isn't a bad phenomena. This is, I want to talk in a way about how to discern between what's creating internal resistance that creates pain versus what is meeting resistance in the world and recognizing where there's points of contact where we can um, meet that real world resistance in a healthy way. That unhealthy internal resistance is, oh, here's this feeling in my body and I don't like it. I'm going to resist it and fight it. And fighting feelings is never a good idea. Or we're having problems in a relationship and we have our ideas of what that problem is and we turn it into, I need to change that person. I need to resist against who they are. And I mean that in the sense of that becoming unhealthy is when we're holding this internal idea and we might be having, these long battles and fights in our head of conversations that often don't even happen. And why I'm being careful to talk about this is because there's two ends of the spectrum here. And I don't want you to become resistant to resistance. Because I can talk about these things and hopefully sound fairly wise about them, but it's your process of discovery, of witnessing your own mind and your own patterns of relating to the world that will help you to develop your own wisdom. It's up to you to discern what's healthy resistance versus what is just creating internal struggle that doesn't translate into the type of growth or change or dynamic movement that's important in your life, in your relationships, in your community, in the socio-political realms you're operating within. There's a difference between creating internal struggle that hurts and meeting external struggle that you need to creatively work with. And really, where I think the rubber meets the road comes back to the orientation to nourishment that I talk about all the time and center. If you're orienting to the world and you yourself as fundamentally flawed, then you'll always find a problem to resist, and you'll create a constant sense of resistance internally. If you treat it all as an unfolding sense of like love and nourishment, a practice of love and nourishment, then you can simply nourish the things you love and care about. And then when you meet things that get in the way of that, whether it's things that get in the way of you loving yourself, loving your partner, loving your family, loving the causes you care about, loving the peoples you care about, meeting that real world resistance, that's where you can resist artfully and resist in a way that is likely to be much more effective than the internal strife that can really really do a number on our nervous systems and on our minds. I think that's what I have to say about that today. So I'm going to unpin my video and open up the floor for questions or curiosities, if anybody has them. Reflections, experiences, and the meditation welcome as well.
Yeah. The thing that I found helpful or am finding helpful over time is the word just noticing. And as things come up, to notice them and then let them float by. You know, it's impossible not to be agitated or annoyed or distracted or but just to like notice it and then let it go, reflect on it and then let it go. Don't react to it and try to fix it, but just to notice it. It's I'm really being right now when Prasad is away, the dogs are really agitated, not the little puppy but the other two, and Bombay whines, and it's quiet, but it's just like scratching fingernails on a chalkboard. And what I want is to become zen with it so it doesn't, so that the dog gets my energy and calms down. But what I'm realizing is that that is not helping and that my dog is not becoming zen, but I don't have to be agitated by it. There's really nothing wrong with it. And someone else might hear the exact same noise. It's not like it's at a million decibels. And it's the dog is just giving me a lot of good work to practice with this low level annoyance that what ends up happening and is I scream at the damn dog. I mean, since Prasad's been gone, I've screamed at the dang dog like a cajillion times.
Oh, yeah, this is quite a practice
Mm,
of undoing layers of reactivity. And I know what you mean. Like I house sit for my aunt and uncle, and I really love their little dog Bo, but he has the most piercing bark, and he's got let's just say he has some attachment issues. So if you're gone at all, you come back and you get the most piercing bark. And
yeah.
there is just a subtle shift because if you come with it at the I'm gonna be so zen that it changes you, or that it doesn't bother me, or that it doesn't bother me at all. You're setting up an expectation for things to be fundamentally, for reality not to be there, as
Yeah.
opposed to like I can just be in compassionate connection with this because the dog is communicating the only way the dog knows how, and they're just doing what they know how to do. But some days that's easier said than done.
Mhm. And me popping off the um the popping off doesn't help. It just adds more negativity to the universe,
No,
It just
it adds more stress to the field. And so like what we can often
yeah.
do is like we can sense there's something that hurts, and then we put our story to it, and it's like the dog's whining is bad. I need to try to fix it in some way. I need to try to fix them, or I need to try to fix me. And either of those stories is fundamentally like I'm trying to change something. I'm trying to make reality different. But when we can just say, oh, there's something in the field that feels uncomfortable, we can just meet that discomfort directly. And with that gentle attention, the just noticing, that can be enough to slow things down. That can be enough to take the edge off. That can be enough to change the reactive pattern just a little bit. And you might still pop off at the dog here and there, but if you do it one less time this time around, that might not seem like much, but in the future that'll pay off with eventually you won't do it at all. It's a fun practice, not the easiest one.
Mm, mm.
Misha, do you have any shares or questions or curiosities? Okay, cool. Shayla, anything else alive that you want to share or curious about?
No, it's felt really good.
I'll love to hear that. It's been a good day on my end, and I hope you both
Mm,
have a good rest of your day. I'll end the recording here.